Best thing I ever did. Every life change, every lesson, the whole journey, I'll never regret it. Best thing I've ever done, hands down.
The reason I'm doing this in the first place, just so you know, because I haven't really told you why I'm doing it, is because I wanted to do something that was deeper than just posting a before and after picture. So I wanted to give people context into the highs and the lows and the experiences that people go through when doing a transformation.
Okay.
Right? So, do you want to introduce yourself?
Sure. So hi, my name's Natalia. I started with Leap. We're going on 2 years in November.
God, 2
I know,
years?
Great for you.
Why does
Isn't
it
it?
feel like 5 years?
I've aged you.
Isn't time
many
supposed
times.
to fly when you're having fun?
It was for me. I had a ball.
Okay, good. And how much weight have you lost so far?
Ooh, that's a good question. I think roughly...
We broke 20, didn't we?
Oh, for sure, broke 20.
Yeah.
20 to 25. Obviously, I've gone kind of up and down and gone through a few different stages since then, but I think it was within the first 10 weeks because there was a milestone where we lost 10 kilos in roughly about 10-ish weeks. Mm-hmm. So that was a huge milestone for me personally. That was amazing.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so let's go back to the beginning. So talk about before you came in. Where were you at mentally before you actually made that choice to come in? Because talking to any new PT, coming into any new gym is always an intimidating experience. So what was the turning point for you that made you reach out to me?
Oh, we're going real deep real quick. Okay.
Yeah.
So before I started with Leap, I was in a really negative space, a really, really dark place, where I was going out a lot. I was on the surface, it looked like I would have been enjoying my life. We used to go out with the girls all the time. There was a lot of obviously food involved, drinking involved, and I guess kind of looking at myself now, to look back at who that girl was, it was a very sad and miserable life with like a mask, if that makes sense. It basically got to the point where I couldn't avoid it any longer. The weight was stacking on. I was miserable. And it was actually another client of yours here where I saw her transformation and I thought it was incredible. And she posted all of these foods and she posted her shred and her transformation, and I was so inspired. So before I actually came here as well, I was with another PT, and I wasn't seeing any results. It was really difficult, kind of lost faith in the whole process. But when I kind of saw Lily's, that was a big milestone for me. So I thought I would sign up, I would come talk to you. And I remember our first meeting because I was very intimidated by that. I know. We talked about food. For that first time, I was actually very intimidated. I remember walking in, I was very self-conscious, and you were very serious face, obviously, before we got to know each other. And then, yeah, it was just a really heartwarming experience. You made me feel very comfortable straight off the bat because one of my concerns is a PT that I had prior was a female. One of my concerns was going to a male PT. So that was really intimidating. You made it feel really calming in that first initial meeting. We bonded on food. You gave me some restaurant ideas, even though I couldn't eat it for like the next year, but that's fine.
Was it you that pulled out that note on your phone that had about 150 restaurants?
Yeah. So I have bars that I would try. Again, this is going back to, we used to go with the girls and it used to be every time we did a girls' night, we'd try somewhere different. I had all bars, I had cafes, I had restaurants. And then was it Shiki?
Shiki, yeah.
Yeah, and you're like, do this one.
Uh-huh.
A year later, I still haven't tried it. 2 years later, I still haven't tried it.
Haven't you gone to Shiki yet?
I've been in shreds for a lot of this time, keep in mind.
Don't go to Shiki in a shred.
But, yeah, so I think I sent you a message recently where I explained that I wouldn't even know the girl I was when I walked in here. Not even just physically, it changed my life in every aspect, from emotionally, mentally, physically.
So tell me, like, the stuff you're doing with the PT before,
Yep.
what was difference between what you were doing versus what we offer here?
This is actually really crazy because I was going through old videos I had where she would obviously film me, and I was just looking back on it. I just came across it, and it's a little frustrating knowing what I know now, because one of the things that you were very prominent on is obviously form, which it sounds silly, but you're very attention to detail, making sure form was correct, everything, regardless of when you obviously start, doesn't matter how light you go, it's the movement. Anyway, there was one particular one where it was a Bulgarian, and I look back at it now, and I don't want to say it, so I don't want to put anyone down, but I'm embarrassed of just form knowing what I know now.
Mm-hmm.
So there was a lot of different things. So with the coach I had previously, I felt like it was not really a support system in the sense of kind of what you do. It was more when we would train, it would be a chat session, or it would be, I don't feel like anything was really tailored to what I needed. Because I remember when I started, I was instantly on a very high amount of calories from what I was eating.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just various things like that. Seeing what I eat now, it's tailored to specifically what suits my body, how my body works, rather than one size fits all.
Okay, so you thought the plan before was just too generic?
Yeah, it was. I went straight onto, again, very high calories. I think it was like 2,500. I'm not even on that now in a bulk. Yeah. So that was a lot. And then...
And you wanted to cut at that time?
I was trying to cut.
Wow. He put you on 2,500. She put you on 2,500
I don't want to
calories.
do names. I don't want to like...
Let's
I
name
feel
them.
bad, but...
Name it. We'll put them on the screen.
Oh, God, don't do that. Please don't do that.
Olivia, we know who you are. It wasn't Olivia, was it?
No.
Okay, good. Okay, yeah, good. Okay. Well,
Cool.
at the start, because we moved pretty quickly.
Yes.
Do you remember what your first... I should really put this up. What your first struggle or hurdle was that you came across?
Form.
Okay, so that's
Straight off
where
the
you
bat.
hit the first stopping point, was you didn't feel that your form was good
I don't
enough?
know if you recall, and it was such a pivotal moment in like our whole thing, and it's always stuck me, so I don't know if you remember. We were doing Bulgarians, and you gave me a certain weight, and obviously you're training with a new coach. You're learning the movement, I guess, for the first time. So it was kind of a little ego thing where, because I wasn't doing it before, I was lifting heavier weight, but not correctly. So it was really doing nothing. Yep. You gave me a lower weight here, but you gave me correct form. So it was hitting that target. And I cracked the shits a little bit, and you gave me a check straight off the bat. I think I dropped the weight. You could tell I was frustrated. And you basically said, you're like, what's wrong? And I had a little ego thing where I was like, I can do better than this. I don't know why I'm not doing better. And you gave me a reality check in the sense of, this is basically, you said, like, stop being a drama queen. It's all about learning. It's about getting the form. We'll get the weight when we get the weight. Mm-hmm. And that was a real reality check, because it was, I think, one of our first sessions, and it put me in check real quick.
And it's different. I mean, I get that a lot when people come in here, because they've come from a place of just moving, which is fine. And they're moving weight from point A to point B, and that's okay. That's a lot of class-based gym people do that. But when they come here, it's very different. Training for hypertrophy is all about moving everything with purpose.
But my attitude sucked. I'm not going to lie. Looking back at it now, I was like, I can't believe I reacted that way.
Why did you put so much pressure on yourself then?
I think it was a very high stress place for me, because I was in a new space. I didn't know anyone. Again, I went from a female coach to a male coach, so that was really intimidating. And then the internal feeling I got when I felt like I couldn't do what in my brain was an easier weight with a movement that I've done before, it hurt my ego. Mm-hmm. And I felt embarrassed because I couldn't do it. But what I didn't realize at the time is I was doing the movement incorrectly. Like, I'm doing the movement now correctly. And that's, again, I can see that now. Then I couldn't see it.
Mm-hmm. And sometimes you got to take 2 steps backwards to take 5 steps forwards.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. Cool. All right, so let's go into nutrition. So obviously that's played a major role in what we're doing. When you're trying to lose body fat, nutrition is literally 80% of everything.
Oh, for sure.
What was the biggest nutrition changes you had to make?
Everything. The biggest lifestyle change I would say when it came to nutrition was I couldn't go out 3 times a week with the girls and have all these cocktails and have all this food. And so that was probably the biggest change. I had to stop that. There was a period where I unfortunately just had to tell the girls I can't do it. That was probably the biggest thing. I can be very stubborn though. And when I originally started, I was 110% committed. I was ready to do whatever I needed to do to make it work. And to me, that was a small sacrifice that I was willing to do. I even got to the point where once I got comfortable in not going out, I started slowly trying to go out, but not indulge. So I might go out for a coffee or I might go out for a breakfast, but I wouldn't overdo it with multiple cocktails and dinner turn into a night out drinking and various things like that. So that was probably my biggest challenge because it's a whole lifestyle change.
Yeah, and it's funny because it's probably a really unpopular take, but I think a lot of people, it's really important what you just said. You use the word sacrifice. And I think that's a big thing when it comes to dropping body fat. Everyone's always preaching on social media that you need balance. And I think that actually to lose body fat, you don't. It should actually be a little imbalanced because balance is equilibrium. Balance means we're moving in a straight line. We're not moving anywhere. Sometimes you need to make sacrifices. When I use the word balance, I mean, we still want to involve some of the foods you love. We want to involve some of the experience you have. But there's no doubt that if you're trying to change your body, you need to change your lifestyle, which means if you're used to going out every week, we might need to change that to every month.
I think balance is important once you're at a position where balance can be introduced.
Exactly.
I think at the start, because what I think people forget to realize, especially when they hear the word balance, is you're trying to change a lifestyle because it's put you in a position that you're trying to get out of.
Yep.
So for those first initial phases, you have to change your lifestyle. Otherwise, you're going to continue at the rate that you're going at, which is not where you want to be. So one thing that I found is, again, I think it was because we cut for quite a long time. It's just how my journey particularly started. I think we were cutting for like 6 months, and then it was just around the time that not the first empowerment. I think it was the third empowerment that we ever did. It just happened to be like, do you want to do it? And I was like, hell yeah, let's do it. So we ended up cutting for quite a long time. But once I was kind of in the new lifestyle that I had, like I'd made the new changes, I was in a routine with food, what I could eat, what I've cut out. It was at that point where I could have those little senses of balances where I can go out and have something and enjoy it. Because one thing that, again, you've said it from the start and you've always lived by this is memories over macros. And that's so important to me. And I say that all the time to people is I've learned to appreciate now, if I'm going to go out for something, make it worth something and not just because you can. Because now when I go out, I'll go out for a date night with my partner, or it'll be an event like a wedding, and it makes it so much more, I guess, sentimental. Like I get to enjoy it more rather than it just strictly be about, oh, well, I'm just eating it because I can. I appreciate it more when I have it. And that's always stuck with me when you said that, memories over macros.
That's genius. I like the way you said that. Memories over macros. That's great. All right. Talk me through, so coming out of your first cut, you've just dropped 20 kilos. You went through, we actually prepped for a photo shoot.
Yes.
And that was our main goal. Talk about your mindset going into that and your mindset coming out of it.
Oh, okay. Mindset going in, I was in a pretty stable position again, because we were cutting for quite a long time before then. So I think the things that I worked through, that if the girls were starting in it, I felt like they were a little bit behind because I'd already worked through it. But I'd worked out my routine. I worked out kind of how my body worked in relation to hunger. So I learnt little tips and tricks that specifically helped with me. So I was ready for it. I was terrified of the shoot I was also very excited for it. It was just one of those things that I'd never done it before. I'm not really a person where I'm like, I don't like attention. So it was a push outside my comfort zone. It was an appreciation for what we'd done. And coming out of it, I said it from the second we came out of it, I was like, this is the best thing I've ever done. Absolutely loved it. I've never regretted it. And kind of when you get to that last day and shoot day, you're just proud of getting through it. It's a whole other experience and level. And again, the girls on the day is insane. The hype of it, everyone's feeling amazing. Everyone's got their outfits, everyone's got their makeup, their hair done, music's pumping. It's just a vibe. It's an absolute vibe. But what was the other question?
I don't know. So obviously you've come out of the empowerment. How do you adjust mentally to going from a deficit into a maintenance? Because we did a big deficit for a while. And if you remember, your weight would go through peaks and valleys, right? And then every Wednesday you tell me how fluffy you're feeling.
It was Fluffy Wednesdays.
Fluffy Wednesdays, yep, which is completely normal.
It was a thing, and it became a thing here because every time I came in, everyone's like, it's Fluffy Wednesdays. I'm like, I know.
Like, funny because I'm feeling fluffy today. But obviously, you've gone from a deficit, you go out of the photo shoot, we go into a maintenance. That can be a really challenging mental time for anyone. So how was that? How did you cope with it? What strategies did you put in place? What support networks did you have?
Did I cope with it? I don't think I did.
You coped. Did you cope well with it? No, you did very well.
I think that, my first one, even now, it's mentally it's mentally harder. So again, things I say is going into the shred, it's all physical. Once you come out of it, it's mental and emotional. Physically, I feel like I can put my body a bit through the ringer if I need to. I don't know about now because you say I complain quite a lot. But I struggle mentally. I think it takes a lot more for me to be able to get a grip of it. I'm just trying to think back to my first one. The biggest thing that I found was the scale. And
being okay seeing that go up.
Yes.
Yep.
And even to this day, it's still a learning curve. Like even seeing the scale now, it can be quite tough, especially if it's quite a large spike. Even though now I know it could be something like water weight, especially with a female body, it can just be certain things that particularly happen at that time of the month, could just be holding more water. That was probably the biggest challenge for me, was desensitizing myself from the scale. And again, it's still a daily occurrence where it just takes time. It's not something that you're just going to learn and be over. It's a constant learning, or would you say coping?
Yeah. I mean, it's hard, especially for women, because when you talk to a lot of women, you talk about the gym, you talk about nutrition, you talk about training, everyone instantly goes to weight loss. Yeah. And that's all it's about. Where I think as you do this for an amount of time, you realize that what you're training for is actually creating a new maintenance point. Yeah. And that's when the balance comes in. That's when the social aspect comes back in. That's when you can still eat food again and enjoy yourself and all that sort of stuff. Don't get me wrong. We want to be doing some of that stuff during the cutting process, but maintenance is actually the fun part.
I think one thing people got to realize as well is when you're kind of, how do I word it? I just lost my train of thought.
That's all right. That's all right.
Oh no, what was it? It was, so obviously when you're going into a maintenance, even a slow reverse, even though you're putting on healthy amount of weight, that's the bit where the scale is, but I keep having it and then losing it. My bad.
It's all right. We can circle back. That's fine. Tell me about nutrition. So I want to know about what little hacks did you find with nutrition when you were in a diet, when you're trying to drop body fat? What little hacks did you put in place so that you felt full and you still felt like, the food was a little bit exciting and something you could still look forward to? What kind of hacks did you use?
So one thing I did through my shred, once I kind of learnt my body, I particularly realised, again, with my routine of how I was, because so my normal routine would be I would get up, so I would have a step goal, obviously my training, you still have your daily things where you need to get work done, etc. My routine ended up being I would get up at 6 a.m, go for an hour walk, which was majority of my steps done. I have a sit down job, so I would come home, work, and then basically after work, I would go train, basically go home, bed, sleep. What I found with my routine was if I wasn't particularly hungry first thing when I got up, I would end up having essentially what my portion of breakfast would be, because it would be oats. Let's say I could only have a portion of 60 grams that day. I would halve portions of what would be an essential meal. So I would have, when I got back at, let's say, 7 o'clock, I'd have my first portion of oats. That typically kept me going for about 2 hours. After that, I would maybe have a tea or a coffee in between. Again, that kind of suppresses appetite that I found. When I started to get hungry again, I'd have my second portion of oats. It'd get me through another, let's say, 2 hours, because obviously you're just busy with work. You're not really thinking. By the time it got to lunch, it was typically around when maybe an hour before I would finish work. I would have my lunch. Sometimes I would even halve that and do the same thing. I basically just scheduled it to, once I finished work, I got to the gym. I found when I was at the gym, I was no longer focused. I wasn't hungry. I was distracted. And then by the time I got home, I would shower, eat, have my dinner, chill out for a bit, go to bed, do the same thing.
Mm-hmm. Well, and what was your favourite meal when you were in dieting? What was the thing that you enjoyed the most?
Kangaroo burgers.
Kangaroo burgers?
I love it.
So tell me, how would you make a kangaroo burger?
Oh.
How would you make it? Keeping it macro friendly, how would you make it?
I still actually do it the exact same way that I do it now.
Okay.
So, just the kangaroo patties. I flatten it out in my pan. I use just garlic.
You flatten it out?
Yes. Okay, so this is going to sound crazy, so don't judge me. You're going to judge me.
Yes.
I flatten it out and I cook it, because I would
with the spatula?
With my hand.
With your hand?
I'm not.
Are you a caveman?
Yes, I'm
so
not.
So you put it in there and you just push it down with your hand?
Yeah.
It's on the pan currently?
Yeah. I'm not cleaning a spatula when I don't need to.
It's a hot pan. Probably shouldn't put your hand in
I did it before I turned the pan on.
Okay, right. Okay, yep. Okay, you squished it down.
So I don't know if that's better, because I'm squishing
like
down raw meat.
Yeah. Then what?
Because I would have, again, little hacks like the country split. I was about to say Country Road. That's a brand. Country split bread.
Isn't it funny that when you said Country Road,
you thought of
I thought of the Britney Spears movie.
Oh, that's not where I went.
Is that called Country Road? No, what's that called?
It is too.
Is it?
I think so.
That's really sad that I know that.
I love that movie.
I hope I'm wrong.
I'm going to get Sean to watch it with me.
Poor Sean. Okay, yep, squishing down the burger. Hang on, wait, let's stop.
Oh, no.
Is the pan non-stick? Do you use oil?
That was the biggest thing. I cut all oil. I cut all butter.
Okay, and how did you go doing that? Did you notice it?
I'm trying to think. Not as much as what you would think. Because I remember when I first told you, and you're like, when I first doing the cut, you were like, are you using butter? Are you oil? I was like, I'll use a little bit of oil. And I think I turned to the spray, and you're like, you still can't measure it. Like, basically stop using it. You told me to get a non-stick pan. And I did, and I've never gone back. I haven't had butter in nearly 2 years.
Yeah. Like, the reason... Oil's something that people always come in, they're like, oh, I use 3 grams. People don't actually understand when they're pouring oil how much they're actually using.
Oh, yeah.
The average pour, when people were asked to pour 5 mils into a pan or into a bowl, the average pour was actually 15 grams.
Yeah.
Okay, and
it's
so
insane.
when you've done that 2-3 times in a day, the amount of calories you're getting from pure fat really skyrockets. So spray is definitely the better option.
Yeah, if you're going to do it.
Yeah, but if you can avoid it, I mean...
I found I got so many calories back again, because I would try to put in what I can, but again, when you're so sparse on calories and that, you savor every little calorie or macro, whichever one you want to say, you savor it. Because I remember I switched from full fat milk to then I think we went to skim milk, and then I even switched. I've never liked almond milk, hated it when I had absolutely no calories. Loved almond milk, it was great. Turned to black coffee as well. I was like, this is great.
Yeah.
But back to my kangaroo burger. So yeah.
Yes, you've squished it in the pan.
Yeah. So I would use garlic powder, a bit of paprika, other herbs and spices. I use sriracha.
Mm-hmm.
So I would put a little bit in the pan because I would overestimate my sriracha just to make sure I was safe. I would literally do a couple squirts, flatten it out, cook it, And
Sorry.
then...
What?
Sorry. What do you mean?
What are you squirting?
The
Sriracha. All right. Yeah, sorry.
What do you think I'm squirting?
Don't
No,
know.
let's not go there. Sorry.
Yeah, go on.
Cut
Squirt
that
it
out.
into a pan. Yeah, go on.
Flatten it up. And then I would get the bread, put it in the toaster, but I would cut my kangaroo patty in half so it fits on.
Half the calories. Great.
Yeah. So it looks like it's 2 meals, but it's not.
Yeah.
And then I would literally just have lettuce, onion, tomato. I actually found this chutney that I would only use 10 grams worth, and I would weigh that. I'd put the toast on my little scale, put it on there, and that was really good in calories. Like it wasn't a lot. I think there was no fat, obviously. There was no protein, but I think it was like 5, not even 5 carbs.
Oh, yeah. Perfect.
And that gave so much flavour. It was literally just caramelised onion chutney thingamabob.
So how would you caramelize your onion?
I would put red onion raw, and then I would have the chutney as like, so the bread wasn't dry. I would just put that on the bread, so kind of replace that butter.
Do you want to know how to caramelize onions for the next to no calories?
Put it in a pan.
No, that
cook
cooks
it.
onion. How to caramelize onion.
How?
So you get your onions and then you sprinkle a sachet of Equal on top of it. You cook them, they taste like caramelized onions.
I think Sean does that.
Mate, see, Sean, smart man.
To be fair, he just puts everything in a pan and will eat it. I'm like, that looks like dog shit. He loves it though.
So he gets an F for presentation, but
I'm pretty
A for
impressed.
execution.
Yeah, I'm pretty impressed with what he eats. He's just happy as long as he's got food in front of him. So
Fair enough.
good job, babe.
How did you go? Obviously, you don't need to go as anal as we did. Like,
We
you
went
don't
very
need
anal,
to
yes.
weigh everything that you eat. You don't need to do that if you
We
don't
were
want
balls to the wall.
Why did you put your balls on the wall?
Sorry. Just repeat
You said anal too many times. And then... Yeah.
Getting out of hand real quick.
So how did you...
What was the question again?
I don't know.
I
Something
heard
about
anal
putting
and balls
on.
and that was about it. This is
So we didn't need to go strict. Like, you don't have to. People don't
Yes.
have to do what you did.
Yes.
Why did you choose to track all your food? Why did you go down that? Because you don't have to.
I think because, again, one thing that you initially said is to kind of get the best results, if I'm not being anal about tracking and I'm not tracking everything, how can you know what you're really eating? And that, I'm very OCD.
Mm-hmm.
So understanding that and being like, if I don't track this, how am I going to get the best results? So I was like, yeah, it made sense to track everything regardless of how anal it was, because it's so easy to overtrack and you don't know, well, you can estimate what's in it, but then what's the point? Because you're estimating your results, if that makes sense. It's not accurate. And
It
my
definitely
OCD...
does slow down your results.
Yeah. And I was committed from the start. I had a goal. We had a goal of where I wanted to be. And in my brain, I was thinking, if I'm going to commit fully to every aspect. Because again, all I'm doing is, if I'm not doing it exactly as is, all I'm doing is delaying my goal. Why would I want to delay it? I want to get there as quickly as possible and I want to do it correctly. That was my mindset. Because I also didn't want a 6-month process to be like a year down the track. And
Yeah.
I'm like, I need to get there quick.
So obviously we lost 20 plus kilos, which is ridiculous. Absolutely amazing. But what are some victories that you got that isn't just scale related?
Oh, this is what I was going to say before. One of the biggest things going into that build that changed my mindset from focusing on the scales and being disappointed every time I saw it go up, even though it was healthy weight. Again, another thing that you said to me is the game's changed and it's no longer focusing on a scale and it's focusing on the weight. And that stuck with me. So I think after we had that conversation, after I had a breakdown every Wednesday when we train, it flicked something in me. I stopped focusing on the scale and I started focusing on the weight. And
when you say weight, you mean the weight you're lifting?
Weight I'm lifting. I think in that first initial build, I got to a point where I've always wanted to lift heavy on a squat. I got up to 90 kilo squat.
Beautiful.
I think it was for 6 to 8 reps. And it was that achievement that it made me want to push for more. I think because when that happened, I think I had an injury that happened because I wanted to get to 100 kilos before the end of the year, and I wasn't able to get there because something had happened. Mm-hmm. So I think I tweaked my back or something. Anyways, probably lifting that 90 kilos when it probably shouldn't be.
Edit that bit out.
But yeah, even what was it? Hip thrust. Mm-hmm. We got to 167.
Yes.
That's still my biggest one. So it was little things like that. Like it tweaked my brain to stop thinking of my scale and push those weight, use the carbs. Mm-hmm. Like, honestly, it gave me a little bit of a pride knowing that I could outlift some of the males at the gym.
Yes. What are you training for now? Like, what are your goals right now? I'm asking you that like I don't know, but I do know. But you tell me.
Right now we're doing a reverse. Mm-hmm. So we just completed the 5th empowerment project. Mm-hmm. And we're slowly going through a reverse. It's taking a little longer than I think we would both appreciate, but that's just we got a couple of seconds.
Everyone moves at their own speed.
Yeah, I think
reverse diets are all on the individual. There isn't a blueprint of how to do it. You move as fast as you can, and I think you're moving at a really good speed. Your training is improving every time that we train, and but we're maintaining body composition, which is the most important.
Yeah. So I finally got my weight to somewhere where it's sticking at the moment. Mm-hmm. But again, with a couple of things that we're facing, like little injuries, it's frustrating not being able to train to my full extent, especially with those certain injuries. Mm-hmm. So again, it's just my particular journey. It's just what we have to do. And if it happens a little slower than normal, then so be it. I'd rather do that than damage myself and be out for 6 months. Mm-hmm. So
great. God, these questions are so deep.
You printed them.
What did...
These are your questions. What do you mean?
What did you learn about yourself throughout the journey? 7. So, continue. No, we're not.
Yeah, we are.
We're at number 11. I'm all over the shop.
Nice.
I'm not following anything. What's on this side?
That's 12.
Oh, yeah. So what did you learn about yourself throughout the process? Oh no. That's an alarming noise.
I think every stage throughout a fitness journey has its different lessons and periods and things that you need to learn. My shred taught me confidence. It taught me what I could essentially do if I put my mind to something and if I want to work to it. My build taught me to be resilient and trust the process, and as long as you're doing what you need to do, don't focus on the scale. Again, it's hard when you're in the fitness industry because your whole focus is about your body and how it is. So be kind to yourself, trust your coach. You're going to learn things along the way. If you have those emotional boundaries, I think, again, it teaches you something about yourself. I think be open about it, because what you're going through, 9 times out of 10, either someone's already been through it or they're about to go through it. Mm-hmm. So take each lesson. And wow, I think I'm not the person I was when I walked in here. Mm-hmm. I'm completely different in every aspect.
And what advice would you give to someone that was doing a cut, but they feel like they've just keep hitting this same sticking point? What advice would you give to someone like that?
So they keep meeting the same challenge, or
they're stuck in their fitness journey. They can't get that breakthrough. What would you recommend for someone like that to do?
I feel like a lot of people say motivation is key. I don't think that is. I think that...
Oh, great answer.
So, I think it's a component, but you're not going to be motivated 24/7. Again, we had this conversation recently where I'm struggling with motivation right now, and it's consistency. It's sticking through it. Stick to your macros. Find a rhythm. Find a routine. And just continue to do it. If you're struggling, reach out to your support network, whether it be your coach. Obviously, you're my coach, but you were a big support person through everything. You listened to everything. You never gave judgment. You had a bit of banter. And if you needed to give me a swift kick in the ass, you did. Mm-hmm. In a very kind way.
Verbally, not physically. Just don't sue me.
It's all right. Just stacked on an extra 20 kilo on something. It's fine.
Yeah.
You just told me to do it. But yeah, I think it's consistency. Get motivation out of your head. Yes, it can help. It's consistency, it's resilience, and it's discipline.
Mm-hmm. So find a structure that works for you. something that you can sustain for long periods of time. Yeah.
Reach out to your network, find hacks, find tricks. Again, if someone ever says something to me or like, how did you get through it? I say the same thing. I found how my body worked. I found my cues. I found where I was hungry and little bits and pieces. And I found something that was tailored to me that worked for me. And it's working through that until you find something. Because I think I did a couple of different things to try and work it out. And then once I found something that stuck, it stuck and it worked.
Now, we prepped you for a fitness photo shoot. We've done a couple now. What would you say in your first one was your most empowering moment in the shoot?
It was definitely the first one because I didn't really have anything to compare it to. My second one was humbling in the sense because obviously my first one, I had such a big turnaround. There was obviously a bigger difference between when I started to when I got there. My second one, I think I had an unrealistic expectation because I didn't have the weight to lose that I did the first time. But my big moment for the first one, it was the squat rack shoot. Because one of the things I wasn't sure if I was going to do was get down to my underwear and the bra. And I said through the whole thing, I wasn't going to do it. And then I was the first one to do it. And that was the moment for me.
Excellent. And what made you do that?
I thought I was confident with how I was feeling, especially because by the time we got to that photo, we were already 3 photos deep. So I was a bit more comfortable, and it was kind of a moment where I didn't think about it. It was kind of like 1, 2, 3, just do it. And by the time I dropped my pants, because we did shorts before that, I dropped my pants. I was like, just do it. It's done. It's done. And I thought at the end of the day, if I don't like the photo for whatever reason, no one has to see it. I can just keep it to myself. Because it was only the girls that were there, really, other than the trainers.
There was quite a few guys there.
To be honest, you all went red in the face and all of you turned around and you're like, oh, no.
Oh, look at the ceiling. Isn't that a really nice ceiling?
It didn't help because, like, I was here, but then there was a whole wall of mirrors, and Lily came up with the towel, and we didn't realise the mirrors were there. It kind of just, like, defeated the... I was like, it's fine. It defeated the purpose completely.
It framed it really well. Like, you could see directly on...
So,
not that I was looking.
Oh,
no one was looking.
I don't think anyone knew where to look. Riley was kind of like, shit. Yeah. I saw Adam's face just go... Like, yeah. Sash just like turned around. Tim's just like, oh. But it was also the vibe from the girls, because you get hype from the girls because everyone is there for each other and what they've done. So, and I think after that we did a few, and then it was the second shoot. I don't think anyone was completely clothed the entire time. Everyone was in either underwear or bra. And
is that the second one, or is that your most recent?
The second one.
The last one was the most shocking one.
Amazing. Yeah, I'm sorry.
Holy
my second empowerment.
Moly.
That was
like
the
first
best
shot. Everyone's got their clothes off, and it's like
loved it though. I still love the fact that Riley came out because no one was in there because everyone was outside doing their own little shoots in between people doing their actual shoot with Riley. He comes out. He's like, "Do you guys even need me?"
Yeah. Everyone, or do you mean when everyone's out by the wall?
Yeah.
Yeah. Everyone's doing their own little
photo shoots. Do you need me? I'm like, no, it's fine.
Really don't.
It was a vibe though. And Riley's brilliant. You should keep him. He's fun to talk to. He's easy to be around.
Well, I have to now. Can't get rid of him
You're
now.
welcome.
Yeah.
Nah, he was brilliant.
Yeah.
He was so much fun.
Excellent. Would you recommend people do a photo shoot as a goal?
Shit, yeah.
Yeah.
So, yes.
You can swear.
Oh, nice. Yeah, I already have. Nice.
You dropped a C word at least halfway through.
Yeah, well, I'm hoping that kind of gets cut out, to be honest. But, okay. I think my sister follows you after me.
Does she?
Yeah.
Oh. Why hasn't she reached out yet?
Because she's got my niece. My niece is enough work at the moment.
Bring her in too.
Missy
Moo.
Moo.
Oh, damn.
Yeah, no, it is. It's Mini Moo, Moo Moo, Missy Moo.
Why Moo?
Because her name's Amelia.
Oh.
Or Millie Moo.
Millie Moo.
Moo Moo.
Yeah, bring her in.
I don't know if you want that.
You got anything else you want to add?
About the Moo Moo?
No. About your fitness journey.
The
Moo Moo.
Sorry. Best thing I ever did. I say sacrifice, but every life change, every lesson, the whole journey, I'll never regret it. It's the best thing I've ever done, hands down.
Amazing. Let's end on that. That's great.